Hey there, I'm Charlie and welcome back to Spooky Season. Today I'm going to be making a set of Pool Noodle Candle Decorations. This is something that I saw all over the internet last year and really wanted to do but just didn't get a chance. So I knew that it was going to be a priority this year. Now this is going to be pretty simple, so let's start with getting together all the materials we're going to need. First up, we're going to need some pool noodles. This pool noodle is 1.5 meters long and I need 2 of them for each decoration. A cutting board and something to cut with, a permanent marker and some tape, something to measure with, LED Tealights, a low temperature glue gun and refill sticks, we're gonna need a lot of those, and some spooky items to decorate with. Step 1, we need to cut down our pool noodle into all of the individual candle pillars. It's completely up to you how many candle pillars you want to make and how tall you want to make them, but I'm going to be making each of my sets with 8 pillars, ranging from 20 centimeters to 55 centimeters, increasing in 5 centimeter increments. So I'm going to measure out each section and then mark all the way around the pool noodle with a Sharpie so I know where I need to cut it. And then once you've measured them, you can cut the pieces with a Stanley knife, but please be very, very careful. I find it easiest to pierce the pool noodle and then hold my knife still and rotate so it does the full circle as evenly as possible. And then once you've gone all the way around, because there's a hole in the middle of the pool noodle, it'll basically be ready, but you might need to just pull it a little for that final release. Now, once you have all of your sections cut, we need to cut out the spot in the top where we're actually going to put our LED tea light. So first of all, you're going to need to grab out one of the LED tea lights that we can use as a template. Then we're going to place the tea light on top of the pool noodle like so, and go around the outside with a permanent marker so we know where we need to cut. And don't worry about getting the permanent marker on the LED tea light because we're going to be coloring the whole tea light black anyway. And then that will leave you with this little bullseye shape that we can cut out the interior of to fit the tea light into the pool noodle. Once again, I will be using my Stanley knife and being very careful. I'm going to cut just on the inside of that line because we can always make the hole bigger if we need to, but we can't make it smaller again. Once we've cut around that line, there's 2 different ways that I've worked out we can get this out. The first is to pull it to the side with your finger, get your finger in that gap, and then you can put your thumb in the center, pinch it, and you can actually tear it. But if it's a bit too stiff to do that, you can of course use your Stanley knife and cut around on the inside of the circle so that this bit will pop out. And then pull out that piece. It might not come out perfectly evenly, and that's okay. We're just going to trim it down until we're happy with it. And every so often, use the tea light to put in the hole and see if you're happy with how it's sitting yet. Once you're happy with the LED tea light's placement in the hole, you can repeat this process on all of the pool noodle pillars. Once you've finished cutting up your pool noodles by length and cutting out their LED hole, it's time to move on to the glue gun. I'm just going to let my glue gun heat up, and then we're going to glue around the top rim where the opening is that we just made for the tea light, and then down the sides to make the candle wax drippings around the pool noodle. This is going to give the effect of a melting candle. I'm also going to take this moment to say that I am specifically using a low temperature hot glue gun, not a standard hot glue gun. A hot glue gun may actually melt the pool noodles, and that's not going to give you the effect that you want. Now that my glue gun is heated up, I'm going to start applying glue to the pool noodle. I'm going to start by doing a circular rim on the top and side of the pool noodle before I start doing the wax dripping. Just a reminder that you should put down the rest while in use so you don't get it caught in the glue. I just need to put a new stick into my glue gun, and I'm going to feed it into the back here, and eventually it'll get pulled through like it normally does. But to make it a little bit easier, I'm actually going to put a dollop of the glue on this so it attaches to the other glue stick. And that's just going to help feed it through. Now that I have that rim of wax done, I'm going to start making it spill out and doing the wax drippings down the pillar candle. So in order to do this, I am going to make the glue come from this rim to different points in length all the way around the candle, about 1 centimeter apart each line. I'm also going to make sure to leave the biggest dollop of glue at the bottom because that's going to more accurately replicate the way wax will drip down a candle. Rather than actually starting at the top, I like to start at that big drip at the bottom. So I'm going to start by releasing quite a large amount of glue to be that big clump of wax at the bottom. And then I'm going to drag that glue line all the way up until it meets that top ridge. So that's what it looks like from the bottom up, and we can of course do it from the top down, starting at that wax line, bringing it down to wherever we feel like we want to make it stop, and then putting in that big lump at the bottom. Now of course you can do this any way you want, but those are the two most straightforward methods in my mind. My favorite thing about doing this process, however, is that the lines don't have to be uniform. In fact, it's better if they're not, because when candles melt, the wax drippings will be uneven, which means that there is no way to make this perfect. So you don't have to worry about being perfect. You can just go and put in as much or as little dripping candle wax as your heart desires. And sometimes I like to place a bigger dollop of glue in a few different spots along the line of the dripping wax, because sometimes when you light a candle, you'll stop and start and it'll change the pattern of the dripping wax. You can also layer the glue on top of itself if it gets too thin, or you go back and you think it's too uniform, or you just don't like the shape. And don't be afraid to use a lot. Given the size of some of these candles, it would make sense that they would have very drippy wax and that would accumulate. So really go ham, make yourself happy. And once you feel confident that that particular pillar is ready, you can go on to the next one. I just realized that I bought half high temperature and half low temperature glue sticks, and that's why it's currently struggling. Hopefully I haven't just ruined my glue gun. I'm gonna try and fix this. Well, despite the fact that I was using the wrong glue for part of that went okay. Obviously, you need to do this process for every single pillar that you've cut, and for me that's a lot because I'm making 2 of these, so I have 16 pillars. I'm gonna do the rest of them off camera, and then I'm gonna come back when it's time to assemble. And here they are. So this is one set of 8. I have 2 of these. And now that we do have the dripping wax on every pillar, it's time to actually assemble these into a formation on a base. I'm using a plain piece of cardboard that used to be part of a Kmart delivery. I'm gonna start with the biggest pillar first and work my way down to the smallest. I will be gluing them onto the base directly, but also to each other as we go. Also, if your pool noodles have sections of writing that has been cut into it like mine, try and glue those against one of the other pool noodles. That's what I'm going to do anyway. Hopefully it works. Start with gluing the base. Glue! No, I need more glue. We can now apply this onto the cardboard. And that is going to be the first pillar of this arrangement. Then I'm going to go with my second highest, and so on, and glue them around it. But now that there's already a pool noodle in place, as well as gluing the bottom, I'm also going to glue it to the side of the other pillar. And specifically trying to glue the written side against the pillar. That's my power board. As well as pushing it onto the cardboard, I am going to push those together as well, just to help that glue set. And we're going to continue this process until all 8 are on the board. I do encourage you to experiment with the layout before you actually glue them on though, just so you know what to do. I think that's how I'm going to stick them. And there we have the raw silhouette of the decoration, if you will. So these are obviously our pillars with their dripping wax, and we'll be able to put an LED tea light in the top of all of them. But now we need to decorate them. I have a series of spooky decorations that I am just going to put wherever I feel they deserve to go on this, but I encourage you to be as creative and whimsical as you please. I want to start with my little skull. If you want to make sure that your decoration won't disrupt the use of the tea light, just have the tea light with you and see whether you can still reach in to add and remove it without disturbing the decoration. I'm also going to use some of these black fake flowers as well. Now I'm going to start incorporating some of these little pieces as well. I'm covered in so much glue. And that is it with some decorations on it. I of course have to do this to both of them, but once I do this to both of them, we are done with the glue gun, which is great because there is stringy bits of glue everywhere and all over my hands. So I'm gonna get this other one done, and then we're gonna talk about our next steps. Our next big step is to spray paint the entire unit. But before we do that, we need to prep our tea lights. We want this white base to be spray painted, but we don't want the flame to. So I'm going to cover it up with a little bit of masking tape. I'm just wrapping the flame, keeping it close at the base so that I can still get all of this area, and pinching it at the top to make sure that the spray paint doesn't get in from above. And you have to do this for all of the tea lights you're going to use. In my case, that'll be 16. And now that the flames of the tea lights are covered in tape, the next thing we have to do is spray paint everything. I personally am going to spray paint the tea lights separately from the pool noodles, and I recommend you do the same because you will be taking these in and out when you need to change their batteries or turn them on and off. And the pool noodles are probably going to need a couple of coats because they're quite porous. It's going to take me a little bit of time, but I'm going to go and get spray painting. Once everything is set, I will come back to show you the final result. And here they are. It's a couple of days later and my pool noodle spooky candle decorations are finally finished. I am really happy with how these turned out. I was a little apprehensive before I sprayed them because I had quite a few different colors in play with my decorations, but the monochromatic matte black finish I think is so worth it, and it really makes these LED flames pop. I am really, really happy with how well each version of this turned out, and I honestly want to make more of these. These are obviously a very easy spooky season decoration to make, but I think that we don't have to limit ourselves to spooky season. I have quite a few different Christmas ideas already going through my mind with these, so let's see what happens there. Honestly, I think these turned out really well and I am super, super happy with the results. One note I would like to give for the construction of these: when you're cutting out the holes for the LED tea lights, consider cutting them a little bit bigger than the actual tea light itself. That way you'll have a little bit more room to add and remove the tea light to turn the batteries on and off. Because mine were a bit of a snug fit, once I sprayed the pool noodles and they set hard, it was much more difficult to get these tea lights in and out. So that's my one piece of advice if you would like to learn from my mistakes. But overall, I do think they turned out pretty good. I don't think I've got anything left to say except I really, really encourage you to try this yourself and let me know how it goes. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more spooky season coming this month. I hope you're having an amazing day and I can't wait to see you all again soon. Bye!